the last agendas, because I wasn't around. Was there any further progress on short-term rentals at all, or
Past.
nothing happening?
We
I
haven't
think
done
I
anything
came
on
to
that.
December, the first one in
Yeah.
December I made.
We're waiting here from the
It's
lawyers.
at,
Yeah, we're waiting for,
BLC.
and that won't be probably until early March for
Early
VLCT to review the short-term rental ordinance.
Jeez.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then,
but-
seems
And Granicus engagement happened, so I don't think anything else has really changed since.
Okay.
The software company.
Right. And then, because I was, in my travels, I was thinking, because the whole self-attestation
Mm-hmm.
thing had come up. Does the town have any liability, for people who self-attest
That's a good question.
incorrectly?
I don't know, I would
Yeah.
think that would put it back on the owner. I think that would remove liability
I
from the
would too.
town.
I agree, but who knows?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
but that was kind of a question, because, everybody wants to sue everybody for everything.
Not
So
us.
is maybe that's a question if they're reviewing stuff?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say legal, yeah,
Yep, yeah, that's a fair point.
Can it boomerang and come back,
right.
said, oh, they self-tested, but, you didn't follow up, and yada, yada, yada.
I would hope that our legal counsel would pick up on that as well.
Yeah. But it never hurts to ask.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, any other public comment? Any agenda changes?
Actually, can I just ask a question follow up on that? I heard that Granicus, there's a kickoff meeting.
There is, I was gonna give an
Okay.
update on that. I'm scheduled to go. Someone else can obviously join and we can talk about that.
Can the public go?
Not to this one,
This is just kickoff.
yeah.
Meet the team, and there'll be more meetings.
Oh,
It's just 30 minutes. Yeah. So
you don't know.
I just want to talk about Brooksfield
Okay,
quick.
anything else?
Rebecca, you didn't have a chance to run by Julie, did you? I forgot to talk to you about this ahead of time, whether we could appoint her,
As a lister.
yeah, I mean, as a cemetery commissioner.
Oh, no, I haven't had
Okay.
I mean, I know she's interested.
Right, I know she was talking about running, but
Yeah.
I was hoping
I
we
think
could
she
appoint
has
her,
maybe her petition out.
but, okay,
But,
that's all right, we'll hold off.
Okay. I didn't see, she was here today, but I didn't
Yeah, I
actually get
missed
to
her,
talk to her.
yeah.
She was pretty busy in the lister's office. We could chat after.
Thanks.
Okay, good. Jeff, fire department, you wanna talk about a truck and the, replacement schedule?
Right, so we are looking to replace our utility 21. The original truck was purchased in 2007. That was a Ram 5500 with a custom-made body on the back and everything. And we are looking to replace it with a new Ford F550 crew cab with a service body very similar to our engine 4 that we just put into service last year. Biggest differences between the two trucks: one, it's a crew cab opposed to extended cab, and the service body height will actually be cab height, so we'll actually gain more storage room. This truck is, we kind of use it, we call it our toolbox, so it's got all the tools in it, a lot of traffic stuff in it, carries our hazmat equipment, stuff like that. So it would be, we're looking to purchase it from Heritage. They would take care of all the work with the body, and then we would deal with the lighting piece of it like we did with engine 4. And from what they're telling us, if we purchase it now, we would probably see it in realistically June or July. So, and it's not to we don't see it exceeding 140,000. The original truck from 2007 was actually 155,000.
And so it's how much?
140.
How does
What's
that
in it?
happen?
So the big reason why the old one was more was because the rear part of it was all custom. Whereas with this one, we'll have a service body that is a service body that you can go to Iroquois
Bolt on.
by at any time. Have a tonneau cover, and then it's going to have a 9-foot pull-out drawer slide, so we can access everything in the bed part, so it'll all be contained, enclosed, stay dry. And it's
So what does this truck do exactly?
So it goes to all car accidents. Will carry all of our spare air bottles, any of our hand tools, roof tools. We call it our toolbox. It essentially holds, socket sets, everything like that within stuff. It's
Sawzalls,
Sawzalls, drills, hammer
hydraulic
drills.
stuff.
Yep, little giant ladders, hazmat, speedy dry stuff, fan, tin roof kit, water safety stuff, air packs. So it's kind of has everything. It would be a fire department's version of like a rescue truck that basically just all the specialty stuff
Yep.
stays in there. And
Goes to every call.
correct.
Okay.
So the reason why the other one we're replacing it is the last time we had it inspected, they looked at it and said, we don't believe the frame has many years left. We ironically got it assessed or appraised, and they said that you probably could sell it for somewhere around $50,000. Part of the reason why is because it's a diesel with no DEF system. So it's got a high price tag just for the engine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the theory is that when we know that this truck's coming closer, this truck is gonna be put on the market. If it sold before we got the next one, we can make things work. And that way, so in theory, if we were to, let's just hypothetically say, we sold it for 45,000, realistically, the truck costs us 95,000. So, and I believe in the capital budget, we have somewhere in the ballpark of 400 and
We
something thousand.
394,
How much?
394, 343.
And where exactly does it fit into the replacement schedule?
Replacement schedule is probably, I believe it's a year early, and the next truck that would be up for replacement is gonna be the tanker, which is gonna be
Are we swapping anything, or are we pushing things up?
no, we're actually, if anything, we're maybe swapping the tanker, and the big reason why is because the tanker, we need to figure out exactly how we want it, because right now, the drawback to our tankers is that it is a split shift, and there's about 4 guys that can drive it well, and those guys are dwindling, because most of them are
They're
over the
old.
age of 60.
Beg your pardon, are you saying my husband's dwindling?
No, I just
Whoops.
he might want to enjoy life more than he does. So that's the hard part, is getting guys who can actually drive this truck. And the reality is we would actually go to a smaller tanker, so it actually would work better when we do tanker shuttles and everything else, because it would work more into the flow.
So there's nothing, so for the schedule, there's currently nothing for next year. This is in 26.
Yes. So this truck that I'm talking about, the F550 would be now, nothing in 26, and then 27 would be the tanker.
And that's
But right
its
now
regular
there's-
schedule.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. What exactly are we changing? Okay.
We're just doing one a year early.
Correct.
Yep. All right.
And then by the time that tanker truck would come to delivery, we would have the money to cover that with the next round of capital.
Okay.
Or after 2-year cycles of capital, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep. That makes sense. And we have the potential for income probably higher than we thought on the existing utility truck.
That's what we're hoping for.
Okay. I don't have any questions.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect.
Is this the lifetime undercoating?
Sweet lifetime.
You know how they say that now, they'll do it like the factory
Yes.
undercoating, so it doesn't have to be
They'll
that.
do the factory undercoating. We just, like, our engine one that was just New Hampshire got re-undercoated, so we're trying to do a better job of undercoating them on a roughly 2 to 3 year cycle. Because we try to rinse the trucks out as much as possible, but when it's like negative something out,
Can't.
it's tough to do it, and we really don't wanna do it inside, because then all it does is add more humidity and moisture, and then it just helps to rot out all the other trucks at the same time, so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sounds
You
good.
guys have to vote on it or not?
I move,
We don't
I
have
can't
a,
remember.
Because it's
yeah,
moved up, do we have to?
can't hurt.
I don't think, yeah, doesn't hurt.
Move to approve the replacement for the utility 21 with the 2025 Ford F550 crew cab.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're a couple minutes early. Do you think the wastewater budget is 10 minutes?
Mhm.
Alright, let's jump to that.
Still waiting on some, numbers, between Dana and Simons for the top part of the income part. We just wanted to confirm with Becca that we had the same numbers that Simon had for that piece. Dana and I feel pretty strongly that, you know, we're more on track this year than we were last year. Neither of us really had a clue about wastewater. I mean, we're still not experts, but. The reason why the unscheduled maintenance and repairs line is highlighted is, 17,886 was the tank, the septic tank over by, at the bottom of West Hill. The replacement of the emergency replacement of that. So Dana's working with Nemrick, to get it.
Yeah, I have transferred
Yeah.
money into the general fund to cover it, but because I have a unique accounting system, I have no idea what I did. So they are fixing it for me. I double did it and move on.
So it's gonna,
It'll be fixed.
the actual number's
Yeah.
like 7805.
Yeah, 7805 is the actual.
Oh,
So,
yeah, so it'll be more in line with what.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Um,
where does that 17,886 go?
It covered expenses, it will go back into that line. At this point, it's at 25,
Yeah.
but the 17 needs to reduce that
Needs to be applied to
25.
that.
Exactly. And I did it the opposite way, and instead of creating more of a mess, I'm going to let them deal with it.
Okay, but I'm still confused because if we spent 17,886 on the repair,
Did you take that from the CD?
Yes.
Yeah, so that came from a different
Yes.
account. So
Yes.
basically what Dana needed to do was just reimburse
Yeah.
that account
Oh,
from
yeah.
a different pot of money.
Correct.
and CD is which account?
It's a separate
Certificate
account
of
that the capital money went into. That was the funds that we have about 122,000 in it, in a CD
In a
account.
CD.
And that's where the 16,000 goes every single year. We had this conversation last year and we talked about using that for maintenance that we were not expecting. And this was something that was
Yeah.
that was.
We talked about anything over 10,000,
Yeah,
so.
so we paid it in general fund, transferred the money back in, but I
It was a blip
did it
somewhere.
the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yep. So when does Nimerick,
Tomorrow, when I
Oh, okay.
actually have,
so we can circulate this when it's,
Yeah,
exactly, it'll be 7805.
yeah.
okay,
Sure.
awesome.
Shortly, but not today.
The administration billing line, 9,400, we got told a few months ago by Simon that, they're no longer able to provide
Yeah.
that service for us. So, we put it back at 9,400, cause that's what it was. You know, I think Simon's was so low because they were getting funds from, or they were getting payments from other companies, so they were able to shorten it. Dana and I are thinking that, our administrative assistant can take care of this piece. She's interested in it, so, but we didn't know what you guys wanted to put for a dollar amount on that.
We,
Can I
Yeah,
explain the billing system on that, on Nemrick?
Sure.
It's real archaic, it is not an easy system, and you guys all had to deal with me when, in 2003 or 23, when I went through. It's not simple. It's not something you can pick up and you can't fix it. If you send a bill out, that bill's out. You have to Cindy wrote a lot of letters herself explaining situations because it's not in this Nemrick model. The best thing about it is that it goes with the rest of the system. You can look at anything and find, you can look look at the database and look at the addresses and mix it in. The reports are perfect, it all merges. So it doesn't make sense to use something like QuickBooks and have it as a separate system because
How-
it doesn't merge in.
How did Simon do it?
They use
did
QuickBooks.
Separately.
Yeah,
And would report back to Dana so that she could
Right.
update Nemrick.
right.
So if we're doing it internally, I think we just need to figure out how many, what it's gonna take, how many hours
Yeah.
per week, and
Ah.
put a price on it.
That's the problem.
How well do you think we can manage it? I mean, you just said it's a,
I think it's.
Well, they're proposing that Carrie
Yeah.
do
well,
it.
how well do we think Carrie can manage it? I'm
I
saying,
think
it sounds like
gonna-
it's not
once I
a
set it
good
up, it's not
system.
gonna be a problem. It honestly isn't. It's
But
easy
you-
to train and everything like that.
I thought you said it doesn't.
It,
It's clunky.
yes.
It's
It
accounting
doesn't,
software.
it doesn't like mistakes.
Yes,
Right.
that's a great,
And when you have to backtrack,
it's not
it
me.
punishes you.
Yeah,
You are,
that's a good way to put
So
it.
we sort of feel like if there's one person
Yeah.
that's doing it consistently.
I'm not overwhelmed with other things.
Exactly.
yeah.
And it's done monthly, quarterly?
Quarterly.
Quarterly, but monthly if you're late.
Yeah.
So if an interest needs to be
Right.
charged, it would be that. There's another thing that Becca had brought up, which was a good idea, I thought, is that if the funds could be increased versus the Simon thing, plus she got a percentage of the delinquent, that might offset the price. So if she got, it's an 8% delinquency charge every quarter for the wastewater. So it's not every month, it's only every quarter. Once a quarter if you're late that quarter. It's confusing. so.
Yeah.
But 1% interest, so if she got 50% of the 8%, 4% of the, whatever, half of the interest rate, that might offset her pay also,
Mhm.
what we were thinking.
Can you put together a proposal? You know, hours, what you
Well-
estimate?
Yeah, we could, I mean, at this point, there's $11,000 outstanding, I
Mhm.
think, for delinquencies.
I mean, just for that line item,
For the-
totally.
Oh, I see
What-
what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay, got it.
The delinquencies seem high for
You think?
2024.
Well, so that
Yeah.
was the other thing, we felt like if we had somebody that was in-house
Right.
and not somebody that's, an outside vendor doing the billing for us, people maybe, we have a more personal contact with them to say, pick up the phone and say, how can Warren work with you to get your wastewater bill updated, and payments made? That was just
And
sort
you've
of,
asked her and she's,
I think it all depends on the bottom line.
Yeah.
Cause, her hours were cut pretty significantly,
well,
so
that's,
we're just
okay,
trying to,
that's right.
you know.
Trying to offset it a little bit.
Yeah,
That'd be
let's see what it
good.
looks like.
That'd be great,
Yeah.
if it worked out for her.
It's not like yours.
Why were the user fees more this year? Up 10% this year? Have we changed the fee structure?
Well, it went up, 28% in 2023, I think it was, the increase.
Yep.
I'm gonna say there hasn't been anyone that's added on to the structure at
Yeah.
all. Maybe, I'm gonna go on a limb here, maybe a cleaner way of billing this service that possibly wasn't done in the past.
Yeah.
There were some hitches that we had found within the billing system that were not,
Some
There are
people
things that
weren't-
were not billed for.
Exactly, some
Correct.
people weren't, being charged a delinquent fee, so,
so at this point,
Yeah.
we cleaned everything up and passed it on to Simon when we passed it on the beginning of it last year.
Yeah.
And at this point, I think that's it. The same people who are delinquent are still
Delinquent.
delinquent, so it's not anything different, it's just maybe a cleaner billing.
Okay.
And it's actually lower than it was maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. I think it was in the 20s consistently.
Yeah.
And it was brought
The
down to
delinquents.
The delinquent.
the delinquency, and it was brought down to pretty close to zero, which seemed artificial. I think those
Yeah.
fees were just removed from the system, so.
yeah, that's sort of what when we were looking at it when I first started,
Yep.
that's what it looked like.
Yep, so it's more accurate now,
Yeah.
which is great.
And then the surface water investigation, nutrient loading, so that is, Stone Environmental's fee for,
just gone up
Yeah,
considerably.
yeah.
They quoted it,
Had to sign an agreement with them, yep, and that's the agreement amount.
And what's the
did they
note?
say
The
why?
agreement amount is for 9,000?
Yeah. So it's all of the, cause they went to a
Remaining.
new testing company that's outside of what they do, so.
What's the note?
So the remaining of, $49.50, so last year they hadn't billed us in time, and so we had a carryover of 3,000. And
Yeah.
that is actually supposed to be, I guess it's in the right line. There was something wrong with billing, so that's why the number was, there was a carryover of 3,000.
Oh,
Is that, so then our budget is 6,000? We-
No.
No, it's the 9,000.
What happened, are we talking about the highlighted
Yeah.
line?
yeah.
What happened is that, a previous select board member had a conversation with Stone Environmental, was told about this number that was in there, and we did not budget for that.
Yeah.
We did not know about that
Okay.
conversation at
Okay.
all.
So which number
The
I'm
3480, the 3480.
is what was billed in 2024?
And we
Yes,
didn't
and that-
expect it,
And we
didn't
only
budget.
budgeted 600.
right?
Correct.
So
Because for 2 billing cycles, they were off with their billing, with their
So-
invoicing.
so when you say to carry the 3,000,
Just, you can ignore
Does
that,
that
that
mean-
note is really more for me and Dana,
Yeah,
so you can just
it's
ignore that.
just-
it doesn't
yeah.
need to get added to
No,
the
it
9?
doesn't.
No, just
Okay.
ignore,
Right.
yeah, that's,
That was for 2024
Yeah.
only.
exactly.
Okay.
So what's
But-
the
but it
remaining
basically
of
doubled.
4950?
It basically doubled, cause, right?
Yeah.
Because we budgeted $49.50 in 2023, but they didn't bill us, so it probably would've,
Oh.
and then they billed
Correct.
$34.80, so it
Correct,
probably would've been
Yeah.
in the,
correct.
what, a 4,500 range, and now it's 9,000.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like everything,
So
all their
crazy.
fees have
The way that
increased.
people can just like
Yeah.
double
Yeah,
their
we just
fee
got
and we just sign on.
They have a pretty bizarre invoicing system. I
Yeah.
mean, Camilla even
I
saw,
know.
it was, are you kidding me, guys? Come on.
Is there a lifespan of the Stone Environmental,
Contract?
contract? Is it go on forever, or
I think,
is this something
Are there
that's?
options? Like, is
Yeah,
that what you're
that's what I'm
asking?
getting at.
Do we have to
I
do
think
this?
so. Do you think there's other options?
I think so, but I'm not sure, we'd have to do some research on who to
That might be
contact.
worthwhile.
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah,
Yeah.
they know that system, that's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's who I think Simon
Yeah, but when they double your
That doesn't mean
cost.
we have to.
Yeah, I mean, if it's something that is ongoing and they're, you know, if it was gonna end next year, I'd say ride that horse to the end, but
Okay.
at least we should check
Okay.
into it.
It's interesting too to double a fee, right? Like to increase 30%, like
Right.
20% over 2 years. You know, it's just odd to double it.
I guess Rebecca can forward the contract, what they.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, I'm
so
not
you
questioning that they did
No,
it.
I mean, just so
don't
you can see
understand.
what's involved
The
in it.
breakdown. Yep.
Right. You know,
Not that we'll understand that at all,
but
but.
we do have room for more people to be on it. you
We
guys.
do.
Yeah.
So we really need to talk about how wonderful our wastewater system is, really pump that baby.
Pump that wastewater system up.
That should be the whole topic of, everyone uses a little sticker for town meetings.
So instead of I voted, it could be I
Pooped.
There you
I
go.
want waste,
I
I
wasn't
want
gonna-
wastewater.
I pooped in Warren.
Yeah. It's a t-shirt.
Does the town own any land to build anything on?
maybe.
Maybe.
Build some houses?
Yeah, that'd be ideal. Okay, so we'll, I guess we have the two things, the NIMRIC fix and putting together a proposal for billing.
Okay.
If Carrie's up for it, if not, we have to figure out what we're gonna do. Okay, thank you. Sorry, any other questions? No? Andrew, you're up.
Well, not all of it is Andrew's, in his defense.
Do you wanna start with Andrew?
Yeah, we can start with Andrew.
Okay.
What do you wanna start with?
Special projects. Main Street Bridge and sidewalk repair is on top of our list.
Andy was involved in the walk of that, it was down by the Ricards, where
the sidewalk settling and whatnot, needs to be repaired at some point in time.
This is the
Devin.
result of Tim meeting with me.
Right, which I know,
I don't think you were there,
I know zero of, all I know is that the meeting happened.
but it
So
was
I'm kind
based
of out
on
of the
the,
loop a little bit with the,
that's fine, we can do it
we had
together.
the walk that you were involved in with Andy when we walked the whole sidewalk, and
Yeah.
it was my idea if we're gonna repair the partial part down by the Ricards to, maybe we could do something
Get a
with the rest
quote.
of the sidewalk.
Get a quote, and then also you were suggesting that it would behoove us to make sure that however we repair or replace that, it would match with whatever was
Right.
beyond. And so that's what facilitated the desire for both of those numbers. So we met with Tim, I met with Tim, and we talked about the repair that would be needed, which is, it's laid out here pretty easily. And then we agreed that it would probably be best to self-fund because it would eliminate a lot of extra costs were it going through some kind of federal or even state grant
Uh-huh.
program. Cause V-Trans is actually
This
bound to
is-
the federal requirements as well.
Yes.
It would just snowball into way more.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be even just for the engineering fee.
Right.
And Tim said we can absolutely do granite curbs. They're not more expensive than concrete, and they hold up well.
For me, the biggest part of the sidewalk was getting it so that it's plowable.
Yeah,
We maintain it and we have to salt it, and it's pretty rough.
yeah,
And a slip and fall or whatever, I don't know if we're responsible for that, if it's because the sidewalk is a little out of shape or whatever. And it's really hard to plow it.
it's
We
definitely
salt a lot.
subsided from that curb
Right,
significantly
there's a bunch of
throughout.
curb that's lifted, and then there's some of it that's settled in, and
Yeah.
the machine doesn't fit on it anymore with the curbs lifted. You actually slide off of it, and you either damage the lawn or you end up in the road, so.
So you're on board for that?
I'm on board for.
Do you have any
fixing the
concerns about
sidewalk.
that?
What's
Do you have
that?
any concerns about it?
Just where the money will come from.
Like everything else?
I think we also talked about, you know, we should do an RFP.
Yeah, we
Definitely.
committed to, and we told Tim that if he could give us some ballpark figures of what we'd be looking at here, so that we have an idea of what we could, should bid or should budget, but that we would definitely be putting it out for RFP and we would ask him to submit a bid, but we need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
My only concern with it is putting a number on the first part.
Yeah.
It's great to assume a number on the first part, but we really don't know what's in there until the sidewalk is
It's true,
peeled back.
that's true. Tim is in agreement with, Mark, that, it doesn't really look like that wall is moving or that it's being undermined, but we don't really know.
Right, until you take the cap off it, we have no idea what's going on underneath there.
And we think that there's maybe some groundwater movement or settling that affected that drain.
May very well be able to
But-
pull the top off of it and then put a new sidewalk on it and get the water to actually go in the storm drain, and it may cure a lot of the problems,
Mhm.
but we won't know until you look at it. So
Until you
that's
look
the
at
only reason I'm skeptical about putting a number on the first part. but
Yep.
You gotta start somewhere.
Right.
And then the other piece of that, and I did mention this to the Ricards, is that it would require the changing of that railing, because that doesn't meet code along their shared, I don't know how we refer to that, the wall, along the top of the wall.
So it's broken into two pieces here. I think we all agree that the first one is critical. Are we talking about the second piece too?
I think that's sort of up to us and budget, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't,
Since the first one
to be done
may
this
have
way.
some expansion in the
Right.
cost,
Yeah.
maybe this should be a 2-year program,
or three, I mean,
or 3,
as
depending on.
long as we're
Yeah.
using the same program once we
Two-part
extend.
program.
Yeah,
I agree. I think we have to leave that, that contingency.
yeah, because it could be 200. It could
Is
be
there a way,
250.
is there a way to do something along the lines of the first part if it comes in way under, where they get into there and they're like, oh, this is just, groundwater that's doing this surface water, and it's only gonna cut, well, they don't usually give a
Yeah,
If it
it's
comes
only
in
gonna,
way under,
only gonna be,
But you know what I mean, if it does come in under there, is there a way to do something that you could do the rest of the sidewalks?
Wouldn't we have to budget?
or find it in
Kind
a
of,
capital
yeah,
account,
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
depends. I don't think, I think you ought to count on two phases.
If he comes back to us with a $50,000 bill, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
It hasn't, in my honest opinion, I don't think it's moved crazy amounts where it's like detrimental that wall's gonna fall over.
Yeah, I think
We've been dealing
most of
with
us
it
are in
for
agreement with
years,
that.
it was dealt with even when Raymond was here, that's why there's pavement on that section. So it's something that's been happening over time, I just don't, maybe somebody's noticing it more than they had before.
Well, I think that section needs repair, and it would be good if the water went into the grate instead of
yes, it
Yeah.
is.
over the wall. That's also, and you've done a, what do you call it? Hot patch, dry patch, cold patch, that one.
That,
Which
that
is,
patch.
which is good, but it was
Icy
a
hot patch.
it was a significant bump before that, so.
Okay.
So,
And the riprap on Airport Road is from Highland Drive up, there's 3 different sections, it's just the brook is eating away at the bottom, the base of the road. And when the water comes off of the road, it's sheeting off and it's narrowing the road up and it could possibly slide more.
Mhm.
And that one I got a price from Kingsbury, which we still will do an RFP and send it out to a few, but I have one more meeting that I gotta get in touch with Jaren from the A&R to make sure that we can do, which way we have to do that. If it has to be keyed in 4 feet underneath the water line, that's the 100,000, which I don't foresee it being 100, I see it being more, that's why I asked for 150.
Right.
Because some of those where it washes like that, they have you key it into the brook, which is actually below water line when you do it. For erosion purposes, and then you build off of that up to stabilize the shoulder of the road.
So that 150 you think is on the high side or?
safe side.
I think it's on a safe side.
Okay.
I got together with Cody and we looked at it from Kingsbury's and he looked at it and with the type 4 rock and whatnot for fixing that. And they've done several that Jaren's instructed them on what had to go on and he thought with measuring it all out and everything right around 100. And as we all know with all the projects we've done, I've never seen one come close to the budgeted price, if they all seem to be way over, so.
Yeah, with the overage, you think it'll be 150 still safe? It's not going to be 200. Okay. That's good. Plunkton Road.
That's my estimate, depending, I forget, I don't have my paper with me, what I wrote down for Rebecca on a tonnage price.
95?
We got it for what, I don't
Nine.
remember what it was this last year, but I know it won't be that. I was already told that by the Pike guy, they said their tonnage price won't be the same this coming year, so. But he didn't foresee it being way more, so 95 is a safe price.
Okay.
That's for a shim and pave from the apron on Plumpton all the way to the end of the pavement, out past the dam.
Okay.
That's already in the budget, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's,
Well,
Sort of.
sort of.
We put what, 240 in?
I think I
and
put
then another-
190
It's split.
in,
yeah,
I split
yeah.
in Andrew's budget and then the capital.
Right.
We have the ability to pay for it. You mean, yeah?
Right, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any others not on this list?
Not really. Not good news on the new truck that's ordered. It
Why?
looks like
Wow.
we'll sit on a cabin chassis for a year.
Really?
Wow. So not till next spring?
I might be plowing with it for winter 26, 27.
What?
Cause the builders are backed up.
Back ordered?
Everybody has switched over to Viking because they're local. So they're booking out a year and a half. And
so what area does
They're
that?
in theory giving you slots for your truck, but the way trucks come in, you really don't get a slot for your truck.
So is that, we're locked into that, there's just no,
Where else can you go?
Yeah.
They're all the same, it's really down to Fairfield or Tenco or Viking, and Fairfield and Tenco are owned by Alamo, and they're in New Hampshire.
yeah,
You can go to them, or you can send one to Canada to have built. Charlie Boys had a stock truck that they had built, and it was $315,000 for a Tenco build.
so what are the ramifications of you having to plow again with that truck next year?
About the same that we've been dealing with, is putting this nice deal that we've tried to do with shortening the lifespan of the truck to get more from them. It's pushing it back, but it's out of our control.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, do we need to?
The buying of a truck is getting better. They're being able to tell you that you can have them in a year's time, but it's a year and a half to 2 years for the
To get it,
So you can
to be able
drive
to
it.
drive it, yeah, you can buy it,
And then
You just have to look at it.
I kinda understand them, but they give you a slot, but they're like, if your truck doesn't show up and we've got somebody else that has a truck on the ground, then it gets moved into that slot. So it's kinda,
I guess I was thinking. in
there's a very
terms of
slim
repairs,
chance that it might show up this time next year in the middle of the winter, but Andy, the guy that is in charge of the builds, not the selling of the builds, said, plan
Don't
on
count
having
on
a new truck for 26, 27.
And when in 26? Spring, summer, 26?
Late summer.
So, okay.
That's my guess. I mean, they're,
Are there any concerns with warranty or owning the truck? I mean, I know there's nothing that we
I
can
have
do.
to make a call. I just found out about this a couple weeks ago and we've just been so busy. I gotta make a call to Sandy at Charlie Boys and say, what's the chance that, it's not gonna hurt the truck to not get put into service, but what's the chance at very least that we start the warranty when it goes to Viking?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was
Start
gonna
being
ask.
built or something, otherwise it's sitting there for a full year
Yeah,
Warranty not getting used.
not getting used.
Mhm.
yeah, that's a good.
I don't know if that's something they can do, if it stays in there, we have to pay for the cabin chassis when it comes because of this problem. Cause they can't sit on a cabin chassis for 2 years and hold the price.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's out of our control, but worth investigating to see if there's anything we can do. Or extend it a year, just, see what the options are. I'm sure we're not the only ones.
Well, there's a lot of them.
Okay.
Other than that,
Before we let Andrew go, can we just have his comments on the last two?
Sure.
Pedestrian safety in the village, cause we have the remainder of the grant that Bob got. And we did all the striping to see if we thought it would slow traffic down. Now we have to decide if we wanna do anything more permanent.
We're thinking toll booths,
I was
thinking
thinking
spikes.
gates.
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 We were talking about, permanent crosswalk signs
Yep,
at the bottom of the school path.
Yes.
And this money needs to be spent by the end of April this year, right?
yeah, 2024, yep.
Which
When you say
means-
permanent
Spent,
crosswalk
spent,
signs, you
The-
were just talking about more,
The yellow
Signs,
signs
not-
with the arrow.
Well,
Right.
I'm saying
Like
we
a
had talked about
Sugar
that,
bush?
and
What?
let's talk about it. Were you thinking like something on the surface? 'Cause we had talked at one point about doing something that makes noise and people
yeah,
feel.
I don't know. I mean, my personal opinion is people don't slow down unless there's something in the middle of the road.
I
Yeah.
can give you a feeling on the lines,
Yeah,
very dangerous.
You find them dangerous or?
I find them very dangerous for the plow guys. Because the tendency for a driver, when you bear the middle of the road off with a little bit of salt, is they have to the yellow line. And I physically cannot plow from School Road to Patty Sue's without being over the yellow line. And
Right.
I'm not gonna say freak out, but I don't know what would transpire if somebody decides to run into my plow because I'm not giving them their half of the yellow line, you know what I mean? I get a lot of looks, a lot of people throwing their hands up, like I'm taking the whole road, and I'm tearing the lawn up on the other side, trying to get off the yellow line, and you just can't physically do it. So for traffic purposes in the winter, maybe it works great in the summer, but it is.
I think it's really unfortunate that people are giving you bad looks about plowing the road. I'm sorry
You should come with us.
that you're experiencing that. That just makes me mad.
I think that's just human nature.
Yeah,
It's just shitty though.
It is.
You put anybody in a situation.
I'm guilty
where
of
they
it too, when you got somebody that's got 2 tires on the yellow line, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I gotta plow that.
and when you're.
That you're on, so we're just as good, I've had several people, raise their hands and
But-
flash their
but-
lights.
but
any
aside-
close calls, any potential
Not really,
accidents?
'cause I just usually either come to almost a stop,
Right.
and if they pay attention and they look, they can see that I'm like tearing lawn up.
Right.
I can't get over any further, but.
Do you think it impacts plowing? Does it slow down things down significantly?
Yeah, but it's a short amount of the village.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
minimal impact.
I mean, what?
I think it's a trade-off. I
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
we can, we can't do both. We can't make it
Right.
wider for plowing, narrower for summer for pedestrians.
Mm-hmm.
And we have gotten
Just
a
a-
lot
just
of
a
positive
concern to
feedback
point
on the
out.
narrowing of it.
Yeah,
No,
But,
it's a, yeah, we,
are there any other issues that have come up with it or concerns or?
Not really.
Because the other stuff, so we talked about crosswalk signage. We also have talked a little bit about speed bump table, blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
whatever.
in the village.
Yeah. If we could, in my opinion, and I don't know about, in the wintertime, I don't feel like, maybe I'm wrong, those crosswalks get used anywhere near as much when there's snow on the ground.
No.
As, when we're dealing with plowing, I don't feel like we have so much of an issue with the crosswalks. But when there isn't, I would like to see us find a way to make something
Oh, like
much
a,
harder to steal,
like
put
a
it that
giant
way.
flower pot kind of thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that was one of their suggestions, wasn't it? Like a planter.
I don't think
That you-
there.
They were suggesting planters that you
You
move
put
into the middle of the
permanent
room.
fixture where at the crosswalk right there that comes down from the school path.
But I think Camilla's suggesting that it's not here for the plowing season, but is here for the non-plowing season.
If you put it on the yellow line, you go down through with a truck and trailer, we are not the only ones that do that, there's not enough room.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's why the crosswalk sign gets hit and moved over. I started putting it on the shoulder of the road so everybody could see it, and somebody kept grabbing it off the shoulder of the road and putting it back in the middle of the road so that it would get hit again.
Only
Oh,
imagine who that might
interesting.
have been.
I don't feel like it needs to be a wide thing. It could just be a pole. It's just anything in the middle of the road, a pole with a sign on it.
I
I
worry
realize
about a
that-
pole for the same reason with the trailer, that it's gonna be damaged, and at least the
It's
sign,
not
if
gonna
it
get
gets,
stolen.
it's not gonna get stolen, but it's gonna get clipped and ripped out pretty
Bent
quick.
over.
Run over.
So then
Yep,
there's the
guaranteed.
there's the goalpost option, right, of the 2 pedestrian signs on either side,
That would be like
Which-
Lot G up at Sugar Bush.
right, which VHB says is one of the most effective forms.
That's also what Josh Schwartz told me.
That's what Rebecca and I had talked about, cause she had said it, I said then just put 2 permanent.
Yeah.
Or we just hire a crossing guard for
Yeah,
after
right.
school
There
and
you go.
before school.
Because there's a lot of people that are retired around here and they got nothing to do.
Yeah.
Like Andy will be in March.
I was gonna say, we could
Yeah.
retire soon.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah,
I'm
It's
from
very
one job.
hometowny to have a crossing
You could
guard.
take
Why
the
not?
hours
It is,
you
I
put
like
into
it.
select board and work as a crossing guard.
They're removable.
Yeah, I
So-
like that
Hate
idea
signs, I hate
of all of the
I
ones.
don't like them either. I agree.
I
I
don't
mean,
think they're gonna do anything.
What?
The
No, I don't either.
goalpost signs. People are just gonna ignore those like they ignore every
you
other
want to
sign.
make the flashy ones? Push the
No.
button and it beeps at you. We heard chirpy,
Honestly, I
chirpy,
think
chirp,
if you're
chirpy.
gonna do signs, they need to be something that actually gets attention, but.
I mean, I agree with Camilla that unless it's something's literally in the middle of the road,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that,
Eventually, they're gonna, yeah.
but they're not gonna slow down. We can put 15 signs out there and they drive
Yeah.
55 past the speed limit sign, so.
Right,
Yeah.
They're blinking
and
when
they're
it's at
blinking
them.
at them, yeah.
Okay, well, this is,
So but we keep going around and around and around about it. What are we gonna do?
Okay,
we
so-
have to,
A speed bump or table.
Oh.
Is another option for that. Right,
Weren't
don't
we-
they
I
make,
thought we were gonna
yeah.
do like a patterned.
that was
asphalt.
another option, the painted pattern.
No, like scarified.
No, yeah, a patterned asphalt,
Yeah.
asphalt
Oh, okay.
imprinted,
it makes more noise.
But also will not work.
but not
on
as
the
much
winter.
as like the
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
cobblestones.
And
Well,
doesn't upset the low cars.
Right,
Well,
That
the
was
speed they
one
go,
of the
you get
concerns
what
you
they
had,
do on,
right?
you know, on the interstate,
that?
they got it so
Like
it kinda
with
plays
our
the
cars.
tune.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I've seen that.
They come down through there at like 50, they could get it so it sings a little tune.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, could it be Moonlight in Vermont?
Yes,
Okay, but you guys
love it.
laugh at me when I
Request.
say, let's put a 17-mile-per-hour sign up. I mean it, like, the sign might not do anything, but what if it's strange? What if it's different?
we can do
That's
that.
fine the first 3 times.
Can you
Yeah,
tell me
But-
where the Welcome to Warren Village sign is?
No, because it's not.
So-
Oh, what do we
So-
want to do with Andrew? Because we're in the,
Well, yeah, I mean, so basically, if we're talking about a speed table kind of thing, I know that's something that has been problem for
Matter
plowing,
for you.
a
They
concern
just don't
for
plow
plowing.
well.
What if they were removable like the ones up at Sugar Bush?
That's not a speed table, that would be a speed
Well,
table.
right, but.
Speed bump.
And we don't like those because they
They make
undermine the
holes
asphalt.
in the,
the yeah,
Asphalt, holes down through the asphalt.
okay, we don't like anything.
correct.
Let's
So
just
what do
start
we
with
not
I'm
not
like
liking
serious
the
about my
least?
crossing guard idea.
Yeah,
What do we
right,
not
back to the
like
classic.
the least?
Yeah.
In the world of speed tables, bumps, and scarified pavement.
If we,
How many speed bumps do you guys wanna put up
We
here?
don't really want speed bumps. I think we've all agreed.
I guess that's
I think
my
they've gotten
question,
me
is
there.
we're starting to get.
We already got too many.
we have, in my opinion, we have to do something to make the crosswalk at the bottom of the path safe. And we did something, and it worked while it was there. So, I'm not suggesting that we should be putting speed bumps up all over the town. I'm not even saying a speed bump there is a good idea, but how can we do a crosswalk that's gonna work?
I honestly don't know, other than putting signs off either side of the road. If you put something in the middle of the road, I agree with you, if something in the middle of the road gets everybody's attention, but it will not last.
But would it last in the summer?
No,
No.
I don't think it will last a matter of days, and I'm not exaggerating.
It will get hit, and it will either be,
Yeah, that's
It'd
just,
just be
road
it's a
debris.
waste of money.
It
it's
is,
gonna
yeah.
be debris, or it's gonna be somebody calling the town, I hit your sign that was in the middle of the road, and you owe me X for my front bumper.
What happens
Wait.
if we scarify but you use gravel? Do you know what I mean?
Just scatter gravel.
Yeah,
Just-
just throw rocks
Just
around.
cut it out like.
No,
Okay,
it's
Warren
not
hold
Road,
on.
East Warren Road for
Let's. So where do we think we are on?
So I think it's either like a speed table that has the striping on top of it,
Right.
or it's some kind of textured pavement.
Yeah.
I think those are the.
You want to skip over the signs on the side of the road?
Yeah, it's a waste.
I mean,
Sorry.
I agree. I don't like
If you're
signs.
gonna do.
I don't like
a
signs
speed
either.
table,
I don't
I
know.
don't
I don't
do
like-
speed
I don't see
tables
I don't
on
care
both
about not
sides
liking
of
them,
the
I just
Hold
don't
on.
think they'll work.
So then, is this something you want to try to get done before the end of April?
Yes,
Can we, and, yeah, I mean,
or contracted.
right, can we contract it so that we,
And
Or-
prepay.
Do we
or
have
extend-
a
or
did
get
we
a
have a
extension.
contract? We had a proposal for a
on
speed
the
table,
grant.
didn't we?
But Andrew, you said we
potentially
need
do that.
speed tables
Maybe.
on both
Yeah.
sides of the crosswalk
April's
if we
not
do
it.
it.
Can't, what good does it do a speed table from one direction?
what?
We need it on two. We need
It would go
two.
across the
It would
road.
have to go all the way.
The
It's-
speed table
It's
would go all the way
up,
across the road.
across, and down.
So you
So
would do
he
one
would-
on either side of the crosswalk, like something when you come around the corner?
I'm envisioning that the crosswalk is on top of the table.
Yeah, you're
The ones that
basically
I've
walking
seen in
across the
Boston,
table.
they're 10, 15 feet long.
Yeah.
I think that's what we had
And
drawn up.
5 feet wide or whatever.
That would
it
be
is.
different
Width of the
than
road.
price that I got
the width of the
Those
road.
were speed tables.
You mean
but that
15
was
feet
something
wide?
totally
I
different
think
for
they were,
a
Yeah.
the ones I've seen, they're lengthy, yeah.
That's
Oh.
different.
Cause you want the vehicle completely
Yeah.
up and up
Right.
so that
Kinda
you're
drive
not,
up and
So that it's
over.
not on the flex point.
yep.
Yeah.
And I think, so we can dig up we would have to talk about this in a separate meeting, but, we could pull up that,
So,
quote that we have.
One
if
of
we-
the
if we
other
do have it.
things that was asked of us from the townspeople with respect to traffic calming was to address something between Brook Road and Main Street, Route 100, excuse me. And what do we do there? And then also on the other side, West Hill.
For speeding or walkability?
Pedestrian safety, walkability, and speed. But I had someone suggest to me that they thought that the shared roadway on Flatiron worked really well, the way they've seen it working, and they really liked it. Would something like that work between Brook Road and Route 100?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think
Absolutely
so,
not.
just cause sight lines, it's very different, I think, than Flatiron.
And
where you
volume.
There's
kind
way
of see
volume
The
there.
volume
Yeah.
is
Way
hugely
more.
different.
Yeah,
I would say that 85% of your
unfortunately.
traffic that comes through the village comes through.
Through that corner.
So-
And then up.
When you're on Flatiron, you may see another car coming at you.
Right.
But if you're coming down from Route 100, you're always gonna see 2, 3, 5 cars passing you.
Right.
I don't disagree that the volume is different. I think the question comes down to, what do we want to prioritize? Do we want to prioritize pedestrians, or do we want to prioritize automobiles? It was the 14, and Andrew got
I
pricing.
feel like it was
Right,
8 or 10.
I'm trying to figure
There
out
were,
what
some
we,
of them were curve signs, some of them were.
Yeah, Blind Hill,
Pedestrian.
pedestrian.
I think Luke's trying to figure out
How
what
many?
we were cutting down to.
Yeah.
And how do we budget for that? And was
Oh,
it
I
like
was
10
saying-
signs?
Oh, I
or-
was saying half.
Yeah, I don't,
It's
I
So
feel
seven.
like
signs.
8
okay,
signs.
so
that.
$2,000 then,
That's what I figured.
okay.
So bump that down to
I think it should be
5,500.
2,500 sold.
2,500.
Final
So
answer.
somebody
I think
gotta
it was
choose
more than
what
half.
signs we're gonna put up, like
Yeah,
pay
we-
attention to the pedestrian ones or.
We
or-
looked at which areas we thought,
I'm
It
doing
should-
hand painted graffiti signs with babies and strollers.
Awesome.
So
dogs.
5,500,
Posts and
Okay.
some blanks to do that.
Like a
with.
whole.
Nobody believes me,
art
but I really do
project.
think it would be good.
Community art project.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Anything else for Andrew on this list?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
night
Thanks,
Andrew,
Andrew.
On the roads, they're
get some
slippery.
See
sleep.
you tomorrow.
Oh, great.
Hear you about 4.
It's snowing.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been in here before 4.
No, that's when I hear you, well, Chris, go by my house.
Alright, so then the rest of the stuff on here, Devin and I did a walkthrough sort of the outside of the buildings last Friday. And I don't have prices for this stuff, but we did see that some of the windowsills have some rot. Mostly on this building, the windows were too high up for us to see on the other ones.
Yeah, the other building looked like it had been painted more recently.
Yeah, and so I have some stuff on that. And then, there's some sheetrock repair that needs to be done in the basement of the town hall from when the humidifier, stuff was put in, when the HVAC system
When
was
we were
done.
looking for leaks.
Yep,
When there was
Andy went down there
leaks,
willy
I
nilly,
cut the holes.
busting up the ceiling.
Feel like I should fix that. It's only 2 holes, I think, isn't
It's
it?
only 2 holes. Yeah.
I could probably do that. That could be my going away present.
Oh, are you gonna paint the ceiling too?
No. I'll prime it then. I'll spot.
You'll spot prime.
and then for sure the steps on both buildings need to be painted, but there was a couple of spots where Kevin felt like there was some rot over at the town hall.
The town hall steps, I'd love another set of eyes on that, if either of you wanna look at it. But there's, the facade that you look at from the parking area, all of those nails have rusted through, and a lot of those boards are rotting out. The beadboard there, that felt like something that if we didn't wanna like do a full rebuild renovation, cause like the steps could, the PT is going, they could use it, but it could probably last longer. We could probably just do that facade, and it's just beadboard and some.
We could get an
2x,
estimate,
right,
at
like,
least.
Yeah.
quickly. Okay.
So we had talked about, Rebecca was thinking of a couple of people that might be willing to do it.
So, is someone, I mean, is the library looking at an architect redoing the entryway there?
The
Thought I
doors,
read that in the
the
notes.
doors.
Oh, we'll get there.
No,
Let's
but
talk
I-
about
No.
doors.
No,
Short version is no.
I hope you're,
No.
I would not,
No.
I would.
No.
But it said they got a $17,000 grant to hire an architect to study accessibility and,
Oh, I don't know.
They got funds from the ARPA committee.
and we're spending, and they're proposing to spend $17,000 on an architect for that entryway is what I read.
Not for the entryway, to my
Mm.
knowledge. They're looking at trying to build some
office.
office space
Right.
and some quieter.
Well, this said
Study
accessibility,
space.
so that,
There is it's accessibility to the children's space up above.
Oh,
And the stage
right, because it's
area.
only
Stage area.
it's
Within
only
the-
stairs. There's no ramp.
Within the library
okay,
area.
okay. Okay.
We've been in pretty close communication with the library, and they haven't said anything about the entryway.
Okay, good,
We are dealing with the doors, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that in a moment.
cool,
Yeah.
all right, thanks, sorry to.
No, it's
No,
fine.
no worries.
So it's pretty rough looking over there,
Mhm.
and I'd love to get an estimate. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, I can.
So I don't know how to budget for it.
I could probably take a look at that tomorrow, even.
Pretty awesome.
That'd be great. Throw a number at it.
Um,
I mean, we were talking about rough material costs if we went all the way with the PT and everything, but, and I don't know, like, how
We
far do
can-
you wanna go? Does that bring us to the doors? Oh no,
Um,
let's keep talking about what you were just,
Yeah, so I did some research today, and it looks like maybe the town hall building was painted in 2018.
Mhm.
Yes.
Because we have two $10,000 payments to Peter.
yes. I remember that.
In the library front steps, it looks like we did $750 worth of repairs and maintenance in 2017. And then painting of the municipal building, 11/4 was done in 17 as well.
That makes sense. He did spot checks, but you're.
That
100%
sounds
right.
familiar.
I
The
went back to
step-
2010, and this is what Nemrick gave me.
The steps, we do need to put a grade in it, that if we redo the steps, I know
at the
the
town
char-
hall.
Yeah,
We
but
wanna do
Charlie
that.
Snow did those for us.
We wanna do that when we do the door,
Correct.
Mhm.
so that we protect it from splashback. We all
Mhm.
agreed with that,
100%.
although I don't think it's in the estimate.
We can.
So that was just, Devin had asked me to look into, if there was some type of schedule for painting.
Yeah,
No schedule, but this is
Yeah.
what I found, in Emmerich. And I went back to 2010.
so,
What do we think the schedule should be?
yeah, what do we think, I
Yeah.
mean, 10 years, every 10?
With an annual review, yeah. I mean, but for ballpark, I don't know when. Do you remember it being done before? I remember Cindy organizing that work over 2 summers,
Yeah.
17 and 18.
Yeah, and Peter had a fix on it, but I could try to find out where he is, but I doubt he would.
I think he's gone. They moved away.
I thought so
Moved
too.
to
Yeah,
Florida, But actually,
we
So
could
we
get
can put it
other
out to bid.
bids.
yeah,
Yeah,
I bid out there, yeah.
I think what would be really nice is if we could find a painter that could do some like carpentry repair before just painting, cause like these sills, 2 of these sills are like, you just pull them out.
Yeah.
You stick your fingernails in them, they're totally gone.
it'd be
Um,
nice to coordinate that work together. I don't know if I would want to tie it to a painter, unless we can
Yeah,
find the
that's
right
fair,
person.
I mean, most of them won't do it, so.
Yeah.
But, Ellen had brought that up when we were talking about the front doors as well. She's like, some painters will use a little wood putty and epoxy and like fix a clapboard or fix the corner boards. The corner board trim on the town hall steps definitely don't meet. The miter it's got a quarter to a half
So
inch gap.
painters think that that's what Mad Dog Primer is
Yeah,
for?
caulking.
Caulking
Lots
and
of
then Mad
caulking.
Dog Primer. 'cause
Mad
you
Dog
can
for everything.
Totally rotten and it'll stick
Yeah.
for 2 years.
So it would, I think, but before we jump forward with painting, there are some spot repairs that need
Yeah.
happening. And I don't wanna say this, but I think it might be true. We need to look at whether or not the siding on the town hall will hold paint again.
Okay.
Really?
It's just, some of what is flaking looks like it's just that the clapboards are so old that they're
On
not.
all four sides?
No, mostly
The backside.
the backside.
Okay.
But no one sees that.
Okay.
So, I thought I heard you just say approximately every 10 years. We did painting in 2017, 2018.
I think it's like a 7 to 10 year thing. I don't have a
I would
painted
call it
house, so I
7
don't-
to 10.
Yeah, 7 to 10,
So,
depending on how it's holding.
we're talking about maybe getting some painters in and giving us some,
I'd say you're at the beginning of sussing out whether that's a, wow, we've got to get on this, or let's just take it.
Yeah, I think, I
Let's
mean,
get it lined up
it
and-
could wait until 20, from what I saw, it could wait. It is definitely flaking off of both buildings in spots,
Yeah.
and some of the sills are rotten.
If there are time and resources, I think it'd be worth starting that project, the investigation and quoting this year.
Yeah.
So then you find out if you wanna do the back, if you wanna do the north walls, do
Right.
those.
Right,
we
yeah, I mean,
should
the
probably have a
south
schedule.
walls definitely are both probably the worst.
Yeah.
And then the east wall on the municipal building, or on the town hall, and the sills here. But the south faces are both like, ah!
Yep.
So I think, yeah, pulling together numbers and maybe planning on that for 2026.
Okay.
Would be good.
Got it.
I think maybe the steps could be this year. Those feel like smaller, more manageable projects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see, we take a look.
You'll let me know what you think, Luke.
Huh?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I can do that tomorrow. Anything else on special projects? Okay.
Do the doors count? Are they a special project?
Well, we have it on, that's
It's
next
on
on
the
the agenda.
Yes. Okay. Are we there? Is it
We
happening
are,
now?
yeah, what's our update?
Well, oh, did you,
I didn't, I put it,
It's
sent it to
in
you
the
guys
email.
on
it's in the
Friday.
email, did
But
y'all
it's
look at
in-
the proposal?
Yes.
Folder.
Awesome, so it's basically what he had quoted us. I noticed in my read through, it needs kick plates. They're not in there, but they're like $300 a piece or something, I think, so it's not a big ask. And we can do a change order and just add it on. Ellen has reviewed it all, she thinks it looks great. The piece we hadn't seen were the hardware bits, but she likes what he's quoted, and I think they're from suggestions she had given him. She also said that it doesn't seem like there's any talk of the door sill and threshold replacement, as well as the floor patch on the inside. Some of that flooring needs to be repaired. But we can talk to him. He might have included it and just not called it out. And if he didn't, we can either ask him to add it, or we can look for someone else to do that little bit of work once it's like in coordination. But I think the threshold and sill is probably included. I know we had
I
talked
would
about
hope
it.
so.
Yeah, I mean, it's
We
really
should make
important, and it
sure.
was definitely on the scope of work that we provided him.
Okay, yeah, that was gonna be my
They would
question.
basically make his work look like crap to
Yeah,
not do it.
I
so
think it's
I'm sure he's got
in
it
there.
in there.
But we can
check.
confirm.
Yep.
Yep,
definitely. What was that number?
11 to 7.
11/8/27, not to exceed. Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is great.
big
I
improvement.
think you guys made a great decision there to go make that done.
Let's give credit where it's due, and that is to Ellen and
Ellen
Devin.
and Devin, yeah.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Thanks, Tim. All right, I'll confirm that those things are included. What about the grate? Is that something, I mean, I don't, he's like a
We
restoration artist.
Should take that on,
Yeah.
that's very easy to do.
That's not a big deal at all.
Yeah, that's a capital steel
Okay,
purchase.
it's also
Why don't
gonna
we
require
put
a
it-
little bit of framing.
We'll put it in with any rot repair, we'll put that in a quote.
How big a grate are you thinking? Just the width of the door and 1.5 feet wide?
I wasn't, I think it's something that you
I
guys have
would
been
like-
talking about for a long time, so.
I would like that like 8-10 inches past the trim,
Yep.
and then out.
2-3 feet.
Not
Not
even
that far, yeah.
a foot, 18 inches.
Maybe
Something
2
like
feet.
that.
You have to have dogs be able to go through.
Dogs hate those.
They hate them. Piper goes around all of them.
That's why I don't like them too big.
I'm saying,
So, but you
Small.
wanna go beyond trim on both sides, not just the one single operable
Yes.
panel for sure.
Absolutely.
And as close to the door as you can get, or do you want a space?
Within the drip line, I would say.
How big are the boards on the deck boards?
I think there's 6.
There's 6.
I think they're
I
2
would
by
leave
6.
the first one against the wall.
Yeah.
And go
Yeah.
from there to wherever the next deck board falls out. Three
Yeah.
deck
So
boards.
it's either 18 or 24.
3 deck boards is
probably.
16 and a half inches or something.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. I'd go at least 18, I think. Well, 16 to 18, right? At
So
least the
what
3.
you do is, so that wherever it falls,
Okay.
so that you get the full steel runners. I know 11 inches is where I've done before, but it's not a nice even number like 18. It's like
Right.
16, 15
Yeah.
and a half, something like that.
And what are you trying to hit? Because your joists there are running toward the door.
Yes.
So what did you say? Steel runners for what?
No, the deck boards. To line
The
up.
actual, so usually when I get the steel, it is only an inch thick. So sometimes if you have 1.5-inch deck boards, you have to put
Pad
some
it.
pads under it. And then the width, so it has long 1-inch runners that are what, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches apart, and you have to have that line up so that you have that's your width
Mm-hmm.
is on one of those, wherever that falls.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Lines up with the edge of the decking?
Lines up with the decking that you're leaving.
Yeah, understood. Okay, now I get you. Okay, well, yeah, let's
That's a
put a
key
sum
piece.
in there.
We'll put it in a separate quote.
And do you usually get it from Capital City or Queen City, or do you have like DMS
Capital
fabricated?
Steel is where I've always gotten it. and
Same.
They have stock.
They have like 24-foot stock, 2 foot wide, 24 feet long.
Yeah.
They often have remnants where you don't have to buy the whole 24-footer.
Okay. So they're just selling you a piece of grate, not on a frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a piece of grate, and then you cut it to size and drop it in place. And
Okay.
that's all there is to it.
Okay.
You can have it nicer. You can get
Yeah, I've seen it like
aluminum
framed.
ones with all
I'm
kinds of nice
not
stuff.
that it needs to be fancy. What I've seen is the grate, but then framed.
Somebody welds
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So you could go to DMS. I mean, like we could design one, and I can call DMS and get a price on it if you want, or we can just get a piece of grate from Capital.
Let's do the second one.
It's a grate. It doesn't have to look great.
Well, we spend
Put it
all
in
this
front of
time
you.
on
We
the
can
doors.
do some ugly welding.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we move? Do we want to wait for the?
Do you want to move to approve that contract, or do you want to?
Well, I was going to ask on timing because we do have a couple questions.
Well, he said we're on the schedule.
Okay, so let's ask the questions and just make sure it
Great.
doesn't change anything.
Yep.
If he's not in a rush, and if he is in a rush, let us know.
He put us on the schedule. I've asked multiple times what that means, and I didn't get a response.
Where are we taking that from? Where are we budgeting that?
Town improvements, I thought.
Okay.
so it's capital, and is it divided between the library and county?
That's a good question.
is a
So,
very good
the
Usually
li-
I do
the-
1/3.
Yeah, okay.
1/3
How much
library,
is in the library?
79, I think it
Oh,
is.
jeez, yes.
But isn't it? Wait, tell me how you do this historically, because I'm not sure I understand.
So there's a capital account that's called
75.
library. It used to
Yeah,
be
right.
for this room.
Right.
And once they moved over there, and it was evident that there wasn't going to be a new building built called the library, that was their home forever.
Yeah.
We agreed to make that account something they could use for that building, if it
Okay.
had something to do with the library.
Yeah,
So,
and we feel
library-
like
Library
this-
building improvement fund.
So 1/3, 2/3.
So there's 75 in there, so every time we do some type of major improvement for the town hall, 1/3 comes from that, and the rest of it goes from town improvements or repairs or something.
And it is, so we have town other, yeah, I don't know, town building renovations, town improvements. Town building renovations is probably better than town improvements.
yes.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true.
Okay. And so that's it on library doors. Where were we on town budget discussion? Last time we were going through
Yeah, so
line by line.
Yep, so I have some, computer
Yes.
updates for you.
That's what it was.
I talked to North Branch. The 1,700 a month that I was looking at was high because there was other things that were in there, such as the initial setup, getting hooked up to our servers and
Yeah,
all of that
yeah.
stuff. Let me just see, alright, so for North Branch, it's gonna be, 16,650, Nemrick, it's 8,600, Google at 3,750, Vickery Hill I put in for about 1,100, software support is 8,950, and network support is 1,200, bringing that total to, I put it at 40,300. So we're combining the software support and the network support.
Sorry.
It's okay. Where are we?
Sorry, bottom of,
Computer.
After conservation and
Page.
post office postage, bottom of page
And then it goes on to the next.
3.
Yeah,
Yep. Okay. So you're happy with those numbers? That's
Say the final again.
40,300,
Okay.
and that's for software support and network support all combined.
that's
Right, okay.
that's what the final
Yep.
when we change.
Okay.
And then we'll leave, software purchase and computer purchase a separate line item.
Yep. Okay. Before this page, just starting from the beginning, were there any other outstanding?
there's another yellow, what was that?
Conservation Commission, grant money? That's
No, hold
yellow.
on.
Why
Before
is
that, I'm starting from the beginning. Do we have
No.
any zoning or PC
What is it?
questions or changes from last time? Okay. So that was resolved.
Yep, so that per, zoning planning clerk is at the 15 hours plus, I think the 85 hours for minutes.
Okay.
Carol does. So that was all good, we fixed that.
Conservation Commission, the grant money, that's highlighted.
That's just highlighted so that Dana and I remember to keep watch for that grant. We're hoping that we get it before this goes to print, because he's expecting a little bit more grant money, so that's just highlighted for my benefit. Here we
Okay.
talked about,
Add river streets, whatever.
Fire department,
fire department's all set.
yep.
Um,
Sewer we talked about, or the,
Wait, did you skip recreation?
did I?
No, I think we're there yet.
oh yeah,
Oh, so you're not just going from highlighted to highlighted?
No, going
Oh,
through.
sorry,
Page,
gotcha.
law enforcement, I did talk to, Captain Meyer today, and, it's still very confusing with the numbers, so I think that if we just budget for the 43,680, he basically said, we know it's confusing, come up with a budget number, and we'll work with what you budget.
Okay.
So, cause I said
What
to
did
him,
he
I said,
say
you know,
was what was confusing? Why he can't meet the budget we give him?
no, the way that he's doing their proposal for this year.
Oh.
And I told him, I said, you know what, we're not trying to give you a hard time, but, you know, the last couple of years, we've budgeted X amount and
right.
you've come way under budget. So,
So
and I
he
told
said-
him that I had a conversation with Waitsfield, and he said, you know, if you guys come up with a budgeted number, we'll work with what you guys come up with. So,
just parroted.
They're
Which
actually,
means
if you,
the
they're
same thing.
trending, they're actually trending down, cause I can't remember a year where they, in 10 years that they've met
Yeah.
their budget.
And the rate's going up, so that means
And,
they're.
and I'm not pushing that,
Right, right.
but that's a question before we commit to, before we say we want $70,000 worth of coverage,
I agree.
there's no
Yeah.
point.
Right.
The sheriff that was
Pay
supposed
money
to go
for
to the academy, he's
Davis.
now not going until next year.
Oh,
So there's, you know,
Cool.
we do know that he'll be here, you know, as much, if not more than what, you know, we've seen in the past.
He's been here.
Yeah,
I've been seeing him.
he was busy with the fire department on Saturday and Sunday.
yeah.
So you know, he's good with whatever we budget, and
That's-
he'll work with that.
Yeah. No, the way that they do the best with what they have.
Exactly.
I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
pushing beyond their
Yeah, you're right.
capabilities
Yeah.
doesn't
There's
Right.
no one there. I mean,
fair.
they're-
But you can push and there's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Constable EM, no changes, right?
Yep.
Library, we did.
Yep. So, Mad River Steward, they're asking for an additional 5,000.
5,000?
100.
500, sorry.
Thank you.
And so
It's a lot of porta
They
potties.
can't have
Sorry,
it.
I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk to Tom again, or, so I highlighted it.
I think we asked them to take over the porta potties up at the rec field, right?
We have.
That's probably
Yeah.
not why they're asking for the extra 500, it's just,
They've been
Cost.
level funded for the past few years, so
I don't find
Yeah, I
this to
don't-
be a problem.
I don't
I
either.
don't.
I don't have a problem with it.
I would love to give them 500 and ask that they have the porta potties at Blueberry Lake cleaned more
It's
often.
not federal. It's not,
Yeah,
It's
they're
Separate.
Not
it's two
even,
separate things.
They don't do that one, that's
No.
right. I get told this every year.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
you ask for it every year and you get
Well,
told
cause like, I
I
can't
know,
tell you how
I know,
gross it
it's
is when
stupid.
it's like,
it's awful.
Ugh.
Fly City?
Yep.
no, it's overflowing.
Mm.
It's mounded.
I don't go in there.
You know who does a great job with, and I think I think MRV Stewart, Wasted.
Yes, that's what they use.
They're fantastic.
That's who we had for 4th of July.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they're,
did a great
they're,
job. The
It's
guys
a-
are
it's a-
amazing.
they're the
Friend
new,
of a
new
son.
kids on the block. And
They are.
Yeah, they did a
the guy is, it's got a great story and it's,
They're a little
Quality.
bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But at this point,
Spotless,
it's so.
clean,
Quality
better.
show.
They're
Yeah.
here all the time. I mean, they were there for
Yeah.
July 4th, so it was nice.
Wasted.
Wasted.
that's what they're
It's a
called.
great name.
What's the
Mhm.
story?
The story is that they, let me get the word right. They, pee-cycle.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
recycle the
Yeah.
potty
The
fluids.
Yeah,
And I don't know what they do.
cause
with
they're
it, but
really good for agriculture,
Yeah.
the fluids.
That's, yeah,
What they say.
so they're doing something.
That's cool.
And we know
So we're
about,
good with that.
yep, Warren Rec Committee, 10K's on there, that's great.
Yep.
Highway budget, the paving's highlighted.
Yep, so I wasn't sure, with what Andrew's ask was for the 389. So I basically put 200 here, and then I put 190 in capital. Wasn't sure how you guys wanted to split that.
I think that's fine. The only thing I would say is that leaves nothing for little cuts that they have to do for repairs and stuff, you know,
Right,
like like the middle of the parking lot here.
yep.
Um,
I haven't talked to Andrew about
It's
his
hot when you
capital
put it
budget
down.
yet.
No, it's cold when they put it down.
It is?
Yeah,
Haven't-
that's why it's called cold patch.
Haven't seen
And then
it,
they-
you know, obviously. So I don't
Yeah,
know
it
what
doesn't
he
get
wants
to
to
do
ask for an additional amount for, paving, but he had asked for the 200 in his regular budget.
so let's put 200 here and then let's jump up the capital instead of 190. Let's have that be 220 or whatever it usually is.
Can I ask a question?
Well, something of that nature.
Yeah,
Why
I
have
agree.
we walked away from the 240? Like, since I got on the board, we always did 240 in this budget and 240 in the
Yeah.
capital budget. Why have we walked away from that?
To try to, starting in 2023, we have stepped back from paving to try to save money. We're trying to reduce the bottom line.
But I mean,
So two things. We're using a better paving product that gives us longer life.
Cause we're
Costs
doing the crack
a little bit
sealing.
more, no, because, we're using, oh God, what was it called? Some sort of elastopolymer
Okay,
in the, it's a higher grade, it's what the state uses for asphalt instead
Okay.
of what they used to sell us, which is kind of just your grandfather's asphalt.
okay,
So, we're trying to get more years out of, and Andrew says it's working, he thinks it's a
Mhm.
better product, it's lasting better. So-
and the price keeps going up.
The price
Yes.
is going up for sure, but because you're getting longer life. So anyway, we last year had a big ask, remember?
Mhm.
We had a special ask
Yep.
above the normal stuff.
Right,
And so we're kind of, I think, how much?
In,
Capital.
capital for the paving, at this point, we have 594.
So we got a pretty good war chest. 594 would get you, all of Lincoln Gap or more if we had to do, or if something unexpectedly went bad, we'd have pretty good ability.
We're
to-
So
close to a
that's
summer's
our
worth of paving.
reserve.
Yeah, we have close to a summer's worth in the bank, basically.
Yeah,
and so we're sort of, at this point, just funding what we think we need to do in the coming year, as
Right,
opposed to
right.
overfunding to build the reserve.
And what I'm
Right.
suggesting is that we bump it up just a smidge, just to keep padding our bank account.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little
Because
bit.
that's money that never goes away and that is more painful to raise when you have to do the special
Yeah,
ask like last year, which I
Right.
found fairly painful.
yeah.
Both to ask
Didn't we
everyone
have
to do
the
it.
special article?
Yes.
we did.
I thought it was,
Yeah.
everyone stepped up and they did it, but it sure didn't feel great when you got your tax bill. Most of that was the education tax, but still. So I think that we're doing the town of people a favor when we have a pretty good capital account set aside. But you don't wanna, you just wanna have that to be the right amount.
Yeah.
So that, and having it a fixed amount that everyone expects us, 240, like you
Is
were
that what
saying.
you're suggesting?
Yeah,
Well, I'm suggesting at
No,
least
I
that
was
the
wondering
capital
why we
stays
did
at 240 or 220 or whatever it was.
240.
So we could drop to 220, but I think dropping it all the way to 200 or 190, I think that it saves us this year, but it's just gonna cost us more next time.
right.
So that's my 2 cents on keeping paving money.
Yeah, I think
Available.
we should fund
Road
the
paving.
ask plus some. I'm in agreement with that.
And I would do it in the capital because
In the capital.
you spend the the highway budget money, and then the capital is what you use to
Yeah.
backfill whatever
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
above.
Okay,
So,
I think that makes good sense.
so leave that at 200.
Yes,
Yep.
for the regular budget.
Yep.
Yep.
And then what do y'all think? 220, 240?
For the capital? You wanna do that
We're
when
not
we
at
get there?
Yeah, we'll do
Oh.
that when we,
Received.
So signs and posts, we already adjusted, right?
I dropped that down to 5,500.
I was getting a virtual,
I was handsmithing.
but it's all good, we're good.
sorry, what was that?
Signs and
I was
posts.
just noting that the next thing up is signs and posts, and we've already had that discussion at
5,500.
5,500.
Building maintenance,
Talked to Gillespie's and they have no active heating oil accounts open for us, so I've zeroed that out.
so the back garage is not
Nope.
oil?
They just have diesel and propane,
Nice.
Sweet.
so we're done with heating oil.
That's great.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. That's awesome.
That is, pat yourself on the back, because for me,
Good
that's
job,
a big
team.
deal.
Good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great move toward efficiency.
And I do feel like,
Awesome.
we're not cranking up the heat because we're freezing and then,
Yeah.
having to lower it because it's 100
Nice
degrees
and
in here
steady.
and it's
That's
just
awesome.
been
More
nice and
even,
comfortable.
Nice.
new equipment.
It's
That's
been
good.
really nice.
That's also good to hear.
Yay.
On propane, where you're, I can't remember
Right.
where did we think 25K was high?
I think I had it higher and you guys told me to keep it at 25.
Was was that
Yeah.
it? Okay.
I think because we haven't had a full year.
I think,
that we
right,
really
I was sort of suggesting we go lower, but you guys were looking back at the 2022 actual and 2023 actual and like, maybe that's not a good idea.
I don't remember.
Because we now have a new propane system, so we've added capacity,
Yeah,
although we've increased efficiency,
right.
Right.
so we don't really know.
I think it's a good placeholder.
Yep, okay.
We'll know more next year. We can-
Facility salaries,
So, we changed that, it was, custodial salaries, and we just figured that if we are going to have some outside maintenance people come in and help us do repairs, that we just changed it to facility salaries. And so, and also the cleaners, because they came in the middle of the year last year to replace the previous cleaners, we negotiated with them to stay at what we were paying them, but we told them that in 2025, we would go up to their new rate.
So I have a question, it's kind of a detail, but when we use the word salaries, doesn't that kind of imply that it's a payroll item? But wouldn't it be maybe compensation
We
or
could just say
call, expend?
Facilities, repairs or something, I don't know.
What's the difference? So what's gonna go into repairs and maintenance?
That's just the basic stuff.
That's the rot
Yeah.
repair that's
Yeah.
gets
No, I
done
know,
by-
I
Right,
understand,
but how is
but
that
how are we
different
gonna,
than, because we were talking about maybe, doing like a
A fixer
not a
upper
contract.
A
but
retainer.
Retainer, thank
Mhm.
you.
why don't we just, yeah, maybe we can,
back. We can combine them both.
So
Put 'em
what's
all into
interesting
one.
about that, and I'm thinking through like what Camilla's saying there, is if you put some of those fees into facility salaries, it sounds like you're separating the labor and the materials
Yeah.
to accomplish a project.
that was where I was going, I don't know.
That's
How
sort of,
feasible
that's
that's
where
gonna
my
be.
mind was going.
When we had
And
it
you were
first, it was
thinking that
custodial
way.
salaries, and we also had,
I know.
we hired somebody to do it and the benefits and everything like that. So probably we just thought we were
But-
being fancy.
But what Rebecca's saying is that if we were able to secure someone on retainer, then they would just get an hourly wage and we would get billed for the materials.
It
So
would be a
would
contract,
separate.
they
It
would
would
not
be
be
a
an
time and
employee,
materials
we really
contract.
need to keep
So
our
facilities
selves
contractual.
clear about
I
that.
was gonna say
Yes.
facilities
Contractual.
contracts, contractual, perfect.
That's a good word. Yep.
Good luck, Camilla. Good luck. Good eye, good eye, good eye. It's good, yeah, you gotta, devil's in the details. And repairs and maintenance, you bumped up it because of the things we've talked about?
Mhm,
Sort
the
of
painted
just sort of
steps,
placeholder?
we need line striping in the parking lot, the power wash, both buildings need power washing.
Bye, Jen.
At least the bottom floor of this building, the windows need to be, cleaned, so we had talked about waiting.
Wouldn't parking lot lines be in the highway budget?
Yeah, it's so weird that it's in building maintenance and
Not according
repairs.
to my friend in the yellow jacket.
That's pavement.
That's
plows it.
pavement.
It was always in highway and pavement, but we have been spoken to about
Really?
many times.
Well, he shouldn't
Why
have
does
left
that
so
upset
early.
him? I don't understand.
Cause he said it's not technically their responsibility. So anything that's why he didn't want, park maintenance in his budget anymore, because that's not their
He
responsibility.
doesn't want,
Oh, put it in
cobblestones
park
and
maintenance.
Wait a minute, not his responsibility.
So,
Not in
Yeah.
his
what?
budget, he wants to keep his budget
No, I
clean
know, but what
for,
is it about this parking lot that's not his responsibility?
and the cobblestones,
Yeah,
those are town
The
roads. This
cobblestones,
is,
definitely.
this is a town parking lot. The park and ride, they're all things that are in the highway budget.
so there is a
Alright.
painted line markings line in there, which we did use a lot. And there was the 26,000 that we budgeted for, that Andrew gave us. We could put the line markers,
I think this is a perfect library summer program. Give all the kids white spray paint.
Wait a
Love it.
second, I'm not allowed to
And
have
you're gonna be in
custom
charge,
signs?
cause it's gonna be graffiti to slow the traffic down
Yes.
out here
Yes.
in the parking lot.
Right.
I've just
because
solved
now we're
like
just
6
having
I'm
things.
putting
outline
Shannon in
bodies
charge of
up
that.
there.
Oh my god, they'd be tie
So
dye
maybe
signs.
what I can do is I can
Building
see what it
maintenance still.
costs
No.
the last time we did line striping, and I'll just add it to,
It needs to go in the highway budget.
It needs to
I'm
be
sorry,
smart,
Andrew.
when you're saying, where does this go in the budget?
I go to highway, I do.
It needs to go where the treasurer
Yeah.
thinks it needs to go.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
we
Well,
want
and also
something like
so
that.
another board can find it and other
Mhm.
people.
But it's
in the
like-
budget can
Andrew
find
should
it.
probably be facilitating it.
Really?
Let's
Careful,
just
So
get,
careful.
I'm okay
Daggers.
as long as Rebecca's capable, which she is, of
Except-
making that call. That's something that between two department heads, they can figure out.
But if Andrew's organizing line striping for the rest of the village and various other things,
Well,
They-
that's
But
been a
Rebecca
little bit-
may be doing that because Andrew's got a big project. I'm saying
then
between
okay, sure,
the two
totally.
department heads, they
Sure.
can figure it out. They can horse trade.
But the
like-
money should live in the highway budget.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
so do you want me to bump the repairs and maintenance back down to 35,000? Knowing that we have rotted windowsills, steps.
well,
that
what do
need
you
to be
think
painted.
the only thing we wanna take out is the
What did we
painted.
spend last
Okay.
year?
So
We
it's
wanna
24.
take
It
just
down
the
I would
line
I would
striping
definitely
out.
take
Yes.
it back to 20 to 35 because
Yeah,
we spent 33, and 24.
So,
And the repairs on that,
And then
The
put
steps,
$3,000
I mean, it's
in
gonna be
line
somewhere
striping
between-
in Andrew's
I
budget.
can
and tell him
imagine between
and
5
say
and
it's
10
salary.
Yeah.
on the route
It's
repair,
silly.
on the front steps.
Yeah.
If we're not rebuilding the whole thing, like we're somewhere in that range.
yeah,
Yeah. And the rot repair, if it happens before painting needs to be painted. Right? Like
Yeah.
wherever rot repair happens, those windows need painting.
well,
ahead of
that
time,
should
which-
be,
Which means we
Built
should
in the cost.
probably just wait until. we
no,
paint
well,
it,
no,
right?
that should be part of the contract, whoever does the,
Yeah, yeah, I'm just making sure Rebecca knows, like, we
Okay.
definitely don't wanna leave bare wood
alright, yeah, I thought
for
you
a
were.
year.
But hopefully whoever does it would
Yeah.
at least
That's what I was saying, yeah, we'll get it primed.
Even a
One-
carpenter can prime
one would
something
hope.
that isn't attached to anything
They're
else.
probably gonna buy pre-primed stuff anyway.
Depending on,
They'll have to shape it though, I think, yeah.
Okay,
Anyway, don't know what's involved.
MRB TV, up to 4K,
Yep, so they,
hasn't changed since 2022,
right,
so again, that seems like Matter Valley Stewart, that seems just like inflation.
and then this is where, as you can see down towards the bottom, I put new line item, so I put Mervis.
Yep,
Hey, I wanna call out two things, in other expenditures, and it's actually good news.
Special appropriation things?
Other expenditures,
above.
Or,
back a page.
oh, yeah, okay.
Something I just have been looking at for a long time now. The, fire pond bond is paid off this year,
That's
end of this year. And next year, the wastewater bond gets paid off. So when we're selling a new bond, we have, they're not huge payments or anything,
Yeah.
but we have two bonds that are going by the wayside about the same time, hopefully, the town garage bond comes on. And that's a success story, and that's what we can tell townspeople about why we bond, and that it isn't just like a tax bill forever,
right,
and that you gotta pay for what you get. So, just wanted to point that out.
good point.
Okay, so wastewater is next year?
2026.
pond.
Yeah.
2026.
Yeah. Next summer, we say goodbye to the wastewater bond. Solar arrays, another 6, 7, 8 years, 9 years.
That's awesome. Do
So-
you have any recollection of what those bond values were at the beginning?
They weren't enormous. I think there was probably a couple $100,000 on, well, I'm not gonna say, I don't know how much they were.
I can find, I have the paper.
I'm just curious and how, over what amount of time, just trying to wrap my head around
Yeah,
what it
what we're
will
looking
mean
at.
for
Well,
us.
they're usually like 25 years, right?
Okay,
And they might only be 20 years, actually. Let's see.
Yeah, I thought there's more.
The wastewater bond would have started in like 2003 probably.
Fire pond.
Anyway,
okay.
and it looks like the fire bond is 15,000 a year, and the wastewater is 40,000 a year, so that's $55,000 worth of bonding ability that we're going to gain back, and then we're gonna lose it as part of the next bond, but
Right.
when you cancel it out that
Yeah,
way,
right.
it does make it feel a little less
We
stingy.
think that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
that's a good-
That's a good
Thank
point.
you for pointing
Very
it
good
out.
point.
It's manageable,
Yeah.
you know,
It's not like we don't gotta have it.
no.
Right. The insurance and taxes, we still don't have those numbers yet. I do know that VLCT is in the process of doing some upgrades to their systems. So, I mean, maybe if it gets to be, you know, a couple more weeks and we don't have the numbers, we just
Yeah,
increase it by
I'll-
7.5% and
Yeah, that's what I
go
was
from
thinking.
there.
It was 7.5% last time. Also, if the HRA expenses, they did go up. We're still at 60, little less than 60% of the people that are using the 43.5, you know what I mean? Well, they did use a lot of it this year,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
The whole thing went, but I don't think it's gonna, you know.
the broker fee went up this year. That's why
Exactly.
that's not highlighted, 'cause we have an actual.
It's the only thing we know.
Yeah. No, I was like, the only thing we know.
Hey, look at that,
But,
$400.
Okay, this is not our compensation packages.
What?
Sorry.
Benefits?
The benefits packages.
No.
Cause
it's
that we
covering
do
the
know.
deductibles.
Yeah, okay.
And we budget 60% of what the total deductible is.
Right.
Yep.
So the total is, I think, 9 people are 6 to 3,000, so it's a lot
Right.
more than the.
Yeah.
So we budget for 60% and that's been safe,
Correct,
usually.
yes. Well, $58 more, sorry guys.
Yeah. No, you're under, 458.
And when do we get our county tax?
I have to
You're
call
$42
Norma,
under, not $58 over.
and I will, she gives them to me when, the very last moment. I think last year we got
When
it.
she
right.
feels good and ready.
Yep,
Sure.
I can't push her, so.
Okay.
And then capital is in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray.
But I just wanna
Yeah.
point out for the net town expenditures at this point, if anything, everything remains roughly the same, you know, we're really only at 9.8% increase. So I do feel like, you know, department heads really
Yeah.
did a good job of trying to keep their budgets in line.
Remember,
Challenging
we
year.
vote the total gross expenditures though,
Yeah,
just saying.
Okay.
Sorry, say that again, Rebecca. We're looking at total, you said,
well, the
Net.
the
Said
town,
9.8.
the total town gross expenditures is only at 7.7%. The net town expenditures is at 9.8, so.
Why are your numbers
where-
different?
Yeah, we're
I
looking
see
at 6.9.
6.
Oh,
she's been
sorry,
making
because
changes.
I'm
She's
updating.
You just made-
She's been updating,
as we
making
go.
Oh,
changes
okay.
as we
Sorry,
go
that's
along,
why.
so
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
it's a little.
Because otherwise I'll forget.
So 7.7% and 9.8%.
Yeah,
For the budget.
mhm,
Okay.
total budget.
I thought you were talking about what we budgeted for 2024 versus what we've spent. But you weren't.
No.
And we have underspent budget to budget.
Yeah.
This year
Mhm.
Yeah,
by $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
At the moment.
Or more if you go down the net, yeah, 300,000.
yeah.
But our fund balance is always pretty, I mean, we have around 200,000 in fixed costs, cause that would be like the highway costs that, to send over, you know, the 5 categories or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But on the fund balance, as you know, is 700 and something, so.
Right.
And we did dip into that 400,000, so I don't think it's gonna be as high this year, so.
But because actual is done and we're 300,000 underspent, maybe we consider using that fee,
For the
that
tax,
amount.
for the
for-
tax,
to-
when
for
you
the tax
guys
rate.
do the tax, well, now you guys. You guys,
Us gals.
Mhm.
gals.
Yep.
Okay. Any other budget discussion?
Ghost Rider.
Okay.
The only other thing I just wanted to quickly, I've gotten a lot of complaints about Brooksfield. There is a lot of dog poop, from people walking their dogs off leash up there, and they don't clean up after themselves.
Real.
In
I
the
know.
field?
People in Warren?
Yeah,
All
Is
over
it
the
because
field
we
or
changed the
specific?
sign?
just like with the walking area, over by the solar array, not at the dog park, those people are great. And
Oh,
Gordy
on the
does-
road.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I do see people looping
yeah,
that.
and then, somebody got in on the field in Blue Donuts. So I am going to, I sent an email to Tom and to, the rec district, or the rec committee. I'm gonna meet Pierre up there next week. We're thinking maybe if we just put up some snow fence temporarily,
Yeah.
it won't completely stop them, but it will deter them. They can't easily access the field.
Yeah.
Put up some snow fence.
Are they easily accessing it because of the missing bollards?
Yeah.
Yep. And then Pierre said that the dog poop is nothing new. That he generally picks up at least a 5-gallon pail full of dog poop in the spring from people walking their dogs up there in the wintertime.
Yeah, people are jerks.
So
They do.
Tom did write back and say that, maybe it's time for some additional signage and
We just got rid of
maybe some poop bag things along that road. But,
So,
other than monitoring.
Then we can have the
we all
dog
know
poop.
that just having the things there doesn't mean people actually, and even worse,
Right,
they pick it up and then leave the bag for you to pick up.
right, exactly.
It's like,
They do that in a cemetery.
Yeah.
my other favorite is you put the bag on your car
Oh, God.
and you drive away
Yeah.
and you find them all over the roadways.
So, Bob Meany thought maybe if we put up a sign that said something about, surveillance, but we talked about maybe getting some game cams up there, and it might help with, the blowing donuts in the field.
That's a good idea for
Game
the
cams
donuts
are
at least.
generally
Cheap.
pretty cheap.
Yep.
That's gonna cost us more in the long run than picking up some dog food.
For sure.
So we can look into some game cameras and go from there.
Okay.
But just wanted to let you guys know that a couple of people now have reported that to me.
Where's
So,
it?
Brooksfield,
Dog
dog poop and
Poop,
blowing donuts.
donuts.
Yeah,
That's
we
what
have
you
the
meant.
same problem in the
We
cemetery.
talked about poop a lot
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
Also,
I've got
dogs
a
aren't allowed
great
in the
idea
cemetery. Dogs aren't allowed in the
for the
Speed
dog
bumps.
park. No, for the dog park. We could have a reality game show called Dog Court.
Okay, this is different.
And that people who are the good people of the dog park could be judging
Oh,
the
perfect.
the poop scofflaw
Oh
people.
my God, I love it.
Wouldn't this be great?
We'll
You know what's
turn
even cooler
people
about the dog
on
park?
each other.
Yeah, but the
And we'll-
dog park, there's a couple
Things.
interesting things
Yeah.
where people just come and take their dog and put the dogs in the fence and then they leave.
What?
That's what
Isn't
we're,
it?
and they're like,
It's doggy daycare, right?
Yeah, it's
and they're
free.
like,
Yeah.
what's going on? And then they'll come back an hour later and pick up their dog
Well, I just wanted the dog to have some playtime.
with
Unsupervised?
unsupervised. I've been there once.
Well,
and we
maybe
were all
you're
like,
there supervising.
well, that was the deal.
You
I
were-
was like,
Do you mind if I?
yeah, I'll be right back. 2 hours later, I'm like,
Wow.
I think there are signs, but they don't read the sign.
no,
No.
no.
No, reading comprehension has gone way down in this
Signs.
country.
Yeah, right?
Anyway.
Yeah,
So-
but otherwise, I have to say the dog park is
Yeah.
working really well.
Huge.
guys.
Yeah.
I-
Tons of
Everybody loves it.
compliments for
Yep.
everything, and your idea, oh Andy, that was just, it
Yeah.
was, it kinda made, it was an
It's
emotional.
making
idea,
Dana
too.
really
So,
happy.
Good job.
Thank you.
She's gonna work on the screenplay.
Okay. Granicus, so that kickoff meeting is Wednesday, tomorrow,
Yep.
1:30.
Yep.
So if someone else wants to go, I will be there.
Who else is gonna be
Rebecca, Dan.
Ruth and Julie.
there? 'Cause I saw Jim and Macon were both copied on that.
So, they were, and then apparently last night, when Ruth made her announcement, I guess, there was lots of excitement and everybody wanted to come. And I said, at this point, it is just a 30-minute team introduction.
Right.
There's gonna be additional meetings that more people can participate in, so.
Okay.
It's just gonna be,
Yeah.
Luke, Dan, and then the three of us.
Okay, one question. I can't go, but Luke not gonna be here for very long.
Yeah.
It's just a kickoff.
It's okay, it's just a kickoff,
Yeah.
it's not, there's no
Yeah.
No,
carry on.
Understood,
can
but
join.
if it's like a team meeting,
Forward you the
hey,
information.
here are the players, here are the heads in charge.
Sure.
I'm just wondering
What's
if it might
Let's
behoove
loop
us
Kay-
to
Kaylee
include
will
someone else.
be
Yeah, I can.
Great.
join.
I'll forward you that.
Thank you.
If you wanna come here, we're gonna be in this room,
Okay.
or if you wanna do it from home.
I'll probably do it from home.
Okay.
Because I have a meeting right before it.
Got it.
but-
Yeah, they promise it's only gonna be 30 minutes,
Thank you.
so.
Any other business?
Can someone remind me where we are on short-term rental, looters?
I can give you the update.
We decided just to scrap them.
Yeah, we're just sticking with the old one, actually. I like
That was the last thing I did as chair.
Screw this!
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
Well done, well done. Yeah, it is, the PC is ready to have their public hearing, except that they are required to do a certain report. The state, in their wisdom, has made that report far more complicated than it used to be, and they've made changes to it, so they can't just use
The old report
the
format.
updated version, yep. So Ruth is engaging Sharon again, to help them, put that
Compile that, right?
together, yeah, exactly, and so she's just talked to Sharon yesterday. They're looking at a couple of months. They wanna try to get it done as soon as possible, but they have to put their report together before they can announce their public hearing.
And that announcement has to be 30 days before the hearing. Do you remember timelines?
Believe so.
Is it 30 or?
I think it's,
I think it is
Maybe it is
30.
30, yeah.
I think it's 30. And then,
Yes.
so then that public hearing happens.
And as long as there are no changes,
Yep.
then it goes to the select board, and the select board has the public hearing and has to warn it and all of
30
that
days
stuff.
in advance. Okay. And
So-
a quick question on Sharon. Has she, in working with you guys, been updating for changes in state statute?
Yeah,
Someone
that's the
mentioned to
beauty
me
of
something
her.
about Act 181, density
Yep.
requirements
That's
for
why,
wastewater.
that's why we've been using her, she's great,
Okay.
she's all of
Awesome.
that stuff.
Cool, great.
Yeah.
Love it. So,
But
Maybe
that'll
it is, yeah.
continue to have to be done.
as they happen.
Once, yeah,
Right.
exactly,
Yeah.
once we have them, then all the
So
changes that are made every year
consultant
still
fee
have to
for
be
her
done.
is just gonna continue
Well,
Mhm.
yeah.
ad infinitum.
Probably not, but, yeah, so Ruth put that into, her PC budget,
Okay,
Yeah.
for her, for
Great.
Sharon, to help through that.
thank you.
Anything else? Do we still need executive session? Was that just for?
No, I think we were gonna talk about the.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we do.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
do, so let's sign stuff first.
Yep.
We have the MOU between, for Mervis,
Oh.
which
great.
we've already,
Good.
We've already,
know the amount.
we've already moved it, right?
yep.
Do you have a pack of these?
Yeah.
Are they all the same color? The actual ones?
Payroll,
Are they like the
Yeah.
Le Pen, the felt tip ones?
oh, that's it, actually.
Reese gets them.
Motion to approve payroll in the amount of $23,739.50.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Hi, Dana.
See you, Dana.
Bye.
Spreading it out, we don't want her here for that discussion? Isn't she part of the whole calculation?
Different discussion.
Yeah,
Oh,
different discussion.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, are we not, oh, okay.
Minutes for December 3rd, 10th, and 17th.
Move to approve.
We didn't need to do that in the executive session.
No, we didn't,
No, we didn't talk about salaries.
the 4.5%.
A second, please.
Second,
Sorry,
All in
what are we
favor?
seconding?
Aye.
minutes,
Third,
3rd, 10th, and 17th.
of December
Yes,
minutes.
thank you.
Sorry, I thought we talked about that at the beginning. Yeah, there's,
We did?
Oh, you had a conversation with.
I had
Dean.
conversations with Rebecca about, Rebecca is clear on the discrepancy or how 53 versus 52 pay periods affects the percentage.
Well, that's good, but
But
we
did
don't have
anyone
actual
ever-
numbers.
Did anyone answer?
Actual numbers for what?
Okay, so
The budget, is the budget reading correctly now?
Yeah.
So what I think you said in email, which was where it made the most sense, was that, and Rebecca explained, did you catch that
I
one?
understand
Well,
it, I
let
just
one,
didn't
one
think we talked about
person
it.
finish at a time.
So I think what we decided, and Rebecca, is this how you've amended it, that salaried employees will see a 4.5% increase on the annual salary from last year, and hourly employees will see a 4.5% increase on their hourly rate. Is that what you guys
But it should be.
sorted
Yeah,
out?
4 point, well, I think the question that Rebecca had was it seemed like there were 53, where to find that base salary. So there were 53 pay periods in 2024. So there was a base salary plus an extra week. So you have to find that base salary, you have to do some math. That's what was confusing.
And
And that's what we
how many
cleared
pay
up.
periods this year?
52.
52.
So that's the piece that doesn't make sense to me, because
Yeah.
We can go through that.
Because
I did all that math today, just to be
Attaboy.
clear.
So when you did that, you took the salary that we approved at town meeting last year
I went back, yes, I did.
and multiplied that by 4.5%.
No. You deducted a week and then multiplied it by
Hold on.
4.5%.
So my question was, if we have 53 this year, why wouldn't we have 51 next year or the year before?
It's not really weeks.
Yeah,
It's
partial,
it's
I mean.
pay periods. Pay is done weekly. It's processed on a Monday. The checks go out Tuesday. So 2024 had the last 2 days of the year were a Monday and a Tuesday. So there was a check went out December 30th. Payroll was processed and checks went out on a Tuesday. So that week covers. It goes into 2025.
I understand that.
And that
But
will
we don't-
happen again, that pretty much happens again at the end of every,
It happens every
year.
5 to 6 years. So a year is 52 weeks and 1 day, and a leap year is 52 weeks and 2 days. So it doesn't offset.
It's
53
never
doesn't
51,
equal
yeah.
51.
right,
It's always 52.
52 or 53
So the piece
plus,
that's
yeah.
still confusing me is that, so like,
Yeah.
I pay an employee a salary. That salary doesn't change over the course of the year. It gets divided by the number of
Right.
pay periods.
Right.
So the annual salary from a 53-week year should be the same as the annual salary of a 52-week year.
It is, yes.
And that would mean in a 52-week year, each pay period pays a little bit more. Because it's dispersed over 52 weeks instead of
Fewer
53 weeks.
than 53, yes.
Right?
If it's a
Yeah.
salary, yeah.
If it's a
Yep,
salary. Are you with me?
I am.
Are you in agreement?
I am.
So then, if we look at the approved salary from 2024 for any given salaried employee, that salary should increase by 4.5% and be dispersed over 52 weeks.
In 2024, there were 53. Sorry, say that again, just so I'm clear.
So forget about the weeks.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
ignore the fact that there are even weeks.
Yep.
Right? For a salaried employee, they make $75,000 in 2024. And we want to approve a 4.5% increase to that sum.
Mhm.
We would multiply 75,000 by 4.5. And then we
divide
would
that.
divide that over the pay periods for the given year.
Yes. I think the way that I thought about it is that the final pay, what is in here, what's in the budget for total compensation for the year has the 53rd pay period, which is mostly in the next year.
So I think that's the challenge, is that what is the starting number? What did we approve for 2024 not what did we end up with for 2024.
Correct. And
That's the tricky part.
well, and
Because-
that I went back to the town report, what we approved last year, that's obviously the same that's in here. And the math that I did checks out with how Dana applied it.
I was gonna say, unless Dana took what the salary was, or unless it was budgeted at 53 weeks.
So,
Did
so that's
she
what,
know on the first of last year?
She knew so if you look at the budget that we approved for 2023, it
Right.
factors in 53 pay periods.
It does.
Because we did a 5.5% increase, and the budget increase, the plus or minus the extra day, the extra pay period, is 2%, represents about 2%. So these are artificially high at 7.5%. Now we're artificially low at 2.5. Does that make sense?
That
So-
makes sense, but I don't know what number we should really be using
And
as
so
the
next
base
year,
salary.
we'll look correct again.
Let's go through one.
Yeah,
I just don't.
so
Hold
if
on.
we just, can we take town administrator right up, or no? Do you want, we can do a different one. It doesn't matter.
We can do anyone.
Do we
I
want
did
to
them
do
all.
this in executive session, or do we want to do this?
It's public.
It's
information.
public.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's all public.
it does feel awkward, doesn't it?
Well,
I don't
I mean,
care.
it's
I
a
just
little
didn't know
off,
if we wanted to. That's fine.
So, yeah, the budget that we approved, as reflected here, isn't being, for 2024, is not being multiplied by 4.5.
Correct.
because it had factored in 53 weeks already.
Yes.
Is that
Yeah,
why?
the total pay factors in the salary plus an extra week, an extra pay period.
So
so
it
it's
should be based
artificially
on the
high.
salary, not on how many.
Correct.
But
pay
so I
periods.
think that then I argue with the way that it's being figured. I think that's inappropriate. If the
What is?
salary that we list as the 2024 budget is listed at 75,000,
I
that
agree.
should be the salary regardless of the number of weeks.
In the budget?
Not
yeah.
in the budget.
No, not in the budget.
It has to
Budget
be
is
budgeted.
spending.
Yeah, it has to be budgeted by what we're gonna
I
spend.
see what you're saying, but budget is spending.
No,
We need
so
to have
yes,
the
yes, but
information.
isn't that what we're gonna spend? We're just gonna divide it over 53
So
weeks,
it
or
doesn't-
51 weeks, or
No.
52 weeks.
No.
It's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
It doesn't feel right because it's, you can look at it and say, that's the wrong number, that's not my salary. But it is when you divide it up differently, it is for what the budget has to be. The budget has to provide all the money that Dana's gonna be signing and handing paychecks
In the
out.
calendar year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I understand that.
But we should know what the,
Base salary is
Ba-
based on the
yeah.
contract for the person who
Right?
extended employment.
so that when
I agree with you. So I don't know if,
So that every year when we calculate, we're calculating on
Off
that
of that
salary,
salary.
not on the
correct,
actual.
But
Dana might
that's our
have,
treasurer's,
yeah,
between HR and treasurer, that's their job, is to keep that clean.
So Rebecca, jump in. Where
Where
are
are
you feeling we are on this?
I mean, the easiest salaries to start with to figure this out are yours and Brent's, because you're the newest employees,
Right.
right? So I feel like we need to start
Know what you were
somewhere.
hired at. Yeah. So,
So if you do it the way that, if you do it for the weeks, it is, the salaries are at where they're at. If you do it based on the salary that we were paid last year, then we're a pay period off.
So
but you were paid
Were
for
you
53
paid-
weeks last year.
more than your promised salary last year.
No.
That's
Last
the
year
piece
I
that
was
doesn't
paid-
make any sense to me.
Last
What do
year
you
I was paid
No,
that
that's-
75,207.
Perfectly right, because it was 53 weeks. They
Right.
divided it by, they took the amount they were supposed to get and divided it by 53 weeks, and they got that amount.
hold
Yeah.
on, no.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I
Sa-
didn't
no, hold on, Rebecca's salary last year, you're fine with me saying this, it's all public, you started at 70,000.
Yeah.
5.5% increase for 2024 brought you to 73,850, that's your salary.
Oh,
You divide that by 52, it's 1420 a week. So 50, if that gets paid out 53 times, it's 75,270.
so what's reflected here
Is
Is
being paid
because of the
53
53
times.
weeks.
Yes. At a salary of 73,850. So if you multiply a
So then
4.5
you would take the 73,850,
times,
Plus
Times
the 4.5,
yes.
and divided by 52
which is
weeks.
where the 2.41 comes in. That's why it looks
how
like.
it shows
That's,
up there.
that's getting it back to where you're on a 52.
Yes.
Understood.
So it's accounting for the slippage in between years, and that we can't make a hard line.
Mhm.
So, but that's how you establish the base salary,
Okay.
73,850. And I think Dana I don't know how Dana does it, but that's a good point. It's between you and Dana to figure out. She can do it by hours.
This
She can,
happens all over the country,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I'm sure Nemrick accounts for this.
she knew that this was going to be in our budget for when we did this in 23 going into 24. She knew that our 5.5% increase was
Gonna
The-
get
Going
paid.
to show up high.
it was going to show up high, and we had enough money to pay that 53 times.
I see.
If that
Which
makes
is why
sense.
Dave Ellison was explaining that Marie's increase looked low because it was based on 53 weeks, so he corroborates what we were just talking about.
Yes,
Yes.
but it still didn't
It's
make much
just-
sense, and
It-
now
it
it's making a
did.
little more sense.
Yeah, it did, it's just, it's
It
easy to
makes a
lose
lot
the
of
thread
sense
of
to
it.
be in counters.
Yeah, and
to
you have
clean
you have
time.
5
We
or
need
6
those
years
things.
before this shows up again.
You know, abacus?
Abacus.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how to use this.
So the question is though, how do we help everyone else understand it? Because, well, okay, so that's the salary piece.
Yeah. then
The
we
hourly
the
piece in
hourly.
here, I haven't looked, are we showing up low on the hourly
I
as
think the
well?
hourly is easier to
Yeah.
explain,
So
right?
if somebody asks at town meeting day, you just say, well, in this room over here, we have a presentation playing of the night that we figured this out.
Right,
And you
exactly.
can go watch it.
But do our employees understand it and are they comfortable with it? Because I think
I'm
that's,
comfortable explaining it, that it's.
You
And
are.
I
based
can
on
help
the
you.
weeks.
Yeah, I
and
did.
you have to go back to 2023 and factor in what
Yeah.
the extra week in 2024 and then,
It is a little different. So it tells me at least it's being calculated on a different basis. It's 2.37 instead of 2.41
For hourly versus.
for hour, at least for like the highway crew salaries,
oh, I see.
right? Because so how did,
They
can
have
we run
different
through,
hours.
They
can
have
we
different
run
hours.
through?
They have different
Okay.
hours.
So can you run
That's-
through how that affects an hourly employee based on what you sorted out?
I don't know that it would because they get paid, they could theoretically submit on Monday morning 17 hours for last week or 46,
Right.
so it doesn't.
So we're,
So,
yeah.
so this percentage increase on the budget line item doesn't really mean much.
Is an estimate.
It doesn't really mean anything to them, even though they think it does.
As long as their
As long as-
hourly rate is 4.5% higher than what it was.
The only thing this
last
is
year,
important for,
2024.
well, there's two things this is important for. One, so the town has the money to pay this on the next year.
Right.
And two, so that the people of the town voted in to do that, same thing. That's what it's for. It's not for me going, I'm making,
Yeah,
this
right.
much, cause it's not, it isn't for that.
Understood.
It might mean that, but it doesn't have to
And
mean
that's what you
that.
were getting at.
Yeah.
The spending is different than the
Yes.
Yes,
salary.
Right.
yes.
Than
Yeah.
the rate.
I
Yep.
get it.
We might we might buy something right at the end of the year that we're gonna use in January. So
Right.
that's where there's
Which is what we're doing
always,
with our
Right.
salary.
yeah, exactly.
We bought
Yep.
something we're using in January.
Yep,
Yep,
Sorry,
It's not-
It is
It's confusing.
incredibly complicated.
yes.
It took me
Thank
a
you.
little
Just got
while
one
to
of those
sort
ones.
through it.
all of that.
One of those.
So that's one, so I think we signed everything, so we have, I move that we enter executive session to discuss personnel.
second.
All in favor?
I-
I-
Bye.